Welcome to this episode of the Jobology Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon, and today my guest is a friend of mine that I've known since high school when I used to hide out in her office so I wouldn't have to go to class. She is in network sales, and she's going to tell us all what that means. She's going to remove some of the stigmas behind pyramid schemes and multi level marketing. So without further ado, Jen. Thank you for being with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. The way we kind of always like to start off the podcast is we try and create like a baseline so that everybody kind of knows what we're talking about. So if you were to have like if we were to meet out on the street or whatever, and I was said, "Hey Jen, what are you doing for work nowadays?" How would you answer that versus like what your official title is?
Sure. The short of it would be I'm selling long-lasting makeup and anti-aging skincare.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be the easy answer.
Okay. And is there like an official title that you have that if somebody was like looking up your job or looking to do your job, they would know what to search?
Sure. So we're actually just called independent distributors of Synogen.
Nice. Independent distributor of Synogens. And then we always like to talk about the why and the how. So
Yeah.
maybe like why you got into network sales or into Synogens to begin with, and then actually also the physical like how, like, do you know, is it something you apply for? Is it something that somebody's like, oh, you'd be great at this? Like, how does that kind of go?
Sure. I have taken like kind of a crazy path, but I am actually a nurse by trade. I also worked at a boys' high school, which is how I met Brandon. um, but I have been a nurse for the last 11 years, and I thought I would retire as a nurse, like a floor nurse with mothers and babies.
Oh wow.
And, and all of a sudden, I tore my Achilles tendon.
Oh.
Oh, that is, yeah, it's as bad as people say
Mm-hmm.
and as bad as it sounds. So ironically, we didn't really know it was torn at the time. It was just like pain and I couldn't work anymore. So my doc at the time told me to go out of work for 2 weeks. So I did, and subsequently, the pandemic started.
Oh brother.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
brother.
like a rainstorm of things.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm sitting at home, bored out of my mind because no one can do anything anyway, and I'm in pain, wondering like, what am I going to do next? Am I going to be able to go back to work? So I ended up realizing pretty quickly that work was not going to happen for a while,
Right.
um, for multiple reasons. The pandemic kind of, I couldn't just go into the doctor and like see him because everything was shut down. So I had started, I'm pretty good at Instagram stalking, and like I spend
Nice.
too much time on social
Mm-hmm,
media.
mm-hmm.
How I found out about this amazing podcast.
Well, thank you.
And um so I was watching all these gals. I had used this skincare and this lip gloss, and I was watching all these gals. I kind of like, you go down those rabbit holes that you're like, just pick one person and then you like find 20 others. So I was just watching them, and they're going on trips all over the world. They're making so much money. They're having fun. They're all friends. And I was like, I don't even wear makeup. But why am I attracted to this?
Yeah, and it's like
And
if they could do it, I mean, I could do this. There's got to be
exactly.
something.
Like,
Gotcha.
I could make a lot of money if I like just smile and sell things, right?
Right.
But I had never sold anything in my life, and I was kind of anti direct sales or network marketing, if you want to call it, because everyone has that, kind of bad taste in their mouth about it.
Right.
But I started just becoming more and more intrigued, and messaged one of the gals, and
Nice.
the rest is history.
And there you go.
Yeah. And then I guess the physical, how you, because you asked like how you actually do it.
So yeah, I mean, there's the why. Like, I mean, obviously, times are tough, things are happening, and then I see all these other people being successful. Why can't I be successful? So, but then like the actual, how do you kind of do it? How do you get started?
So I messaged this gal. She actually lives like 20 minutes away.
Nice.
I didn't know she was number 5 in this billion-dollar company in the whole world.
Oh wow. Okay, that seems like a good mentor to start with.
It is, yeah. I had no idea. I literally was like totally blindly just choosing. Didn't I also didn't know she lived right around the corner. Um, but I messaged her. Usually it's like a cost to get into one of these companies, kind of like a wholesale membership. So it was $65, and then you join this team and they onboard you. It's your own business, but there's so much community and so much team that helps you that you're never really alone. So it's kind of an amazing thing.
So you always have like a support. So even if, let's say, you're like, oh man, I have this issue. I don't know how to solve this problem. And you try one person and they're not available. At least you have other members to go to be like, hey, have you guys have ran into this?
Exactly. Yeah, just on my team, there's 500 people,
Oh wow.
and we're one of the smaller teams in the company. So
The
um,
heck? Okay.
there's so many people, and you can just reach out to anyone.
Okay. Is this something that you have to go to like an office for? Is this something you do from home or from wherever in the world you want to be?
So that's the beauty of it. I think so many people. I meant to look up a statistic, and maybe when um, you post this or whatever, I can send it to you, because so many people are switching to network marketing and online businesses, um, because you can do it anywhere. You can literally. I've had 3 surgeries in the last 6 months, and I
Oh
do
my
it from
god.
the surgery bed. Like,
Okay.
um,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I mean, if you're bored, of course, like
Sure.
that's not to be a martyr here.
Yeah,
uh,
that's insane. Like you got to
right.
work when you're no.
Yeah. I was at the pool yesterday, and I have a little shade, and I do work when I'm drying off. I mean, I'm sitting in my office right now, but it's very makeshift. I mean, it's just got a lot of makeup and skincare around and some notebooks and,
I was
you know,
gonna say too, there's something
oh,
going on
yeah,
here. Okay, before people are like, what is on her arm? Like
right.
that's gotta be something to do with Synogen, something to
It
do with
is.
work.
Yes,
I
and this is our best
okay.
marketing tool because people stop me all the time, and say, "Were you trying on lipstick?" I'm like, "Oh, actually, I sell makeup that doesn't come off."
Nice. That's a good opener. Okay, we'll get to
Yeah.
openers. I got some questions about openers
All
and
right.
stuff like that
All
later on.
right.
So something that we find very interesting, or I find very interesting, I'm hoping that everyone else that's listening finds interesting, is what your average day looks like. A lot of jobs, we feel like we know what the person does, or we have an idea or an overview of, oh, this is what they do. But when it actually comes down to like breaking down what does an average day look like, nobody has any idea what anybody does. So is there like this might not fit necessarily, average might be tough, but is there either like an average amount of things you try and accomplish in a day, or an average amount of sales you're trying to do, or just kind of like when do you start, when do you finish, what does your day look like?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And in direct sales, I mean, they're kind of interchangeable terms, like multi-level
Mhm.
marketing, network sales, direct sales. So I guess I use all those kind of at the same time. Um, it's a little bit different all the time, and I've had some other part-time jobs just because I get bored easily, so I like to keep myself going. Um, so I will go to another part-time job, have a break, and do this job. So it kind of depends on what I have that day. Some days, like lately, I have a surgery coming up next week for my Achilles, and
Another, oh my dude,
I
what is going on?
it's the worst. Don't tear your Achilles tendon. If you
Oh,
take nothing else from this podcast,
right.
don't tear your Achilles tendon.
Figure out a way
Uh,
to do some Achilles exercises, strengthen them
yeah,
up, people.
please,
Uh-huh.
please. Um, but I, I have a lot of doctor's appointments to get clearance for the surgery. So I kind of fit this into the cracks of my day, which is the best part of it.
Right. That's probably one of the perks that maybe, not everyone's, we'll get to perks here in a little bit too, but that might be one of the perks that nobody sees, where it's like, I mean, I can work my day around my job as opposed to like having to work my job around my day or whatever.
It is. And, I actually just accepted a nursing job, for after my surgery, which is, a ways away. I have recovery and all that, but I'm going to be able to do this and that simultaneously. So, I mean, it's the beautiful thing about this kind of track.
Right. So no necessarily average looking day, but if you if you had your, maybe perfect schedule lined up or your perfect day lined up, is it something where you're like, I wake up at 7 and I hit the emails, or is it like something where you're like, no, I get up at 10 because I don't want to, I'm trying to reach to people, so I'm not going to bother them at 7, or
Yeah, so one thing that's tricky for me is my customer base, since I'm originally from the East Coast, half is from the East Coast.
gotcha.
I would say it's pretty equal, and there's some in the middle of the country. So the earlier I wake up, much of this business is done on social media. So I have a Facebook business page. So I need to either schedule the night before, which I'm pretty bad at.
Me too. I understand that.
Organization is not my
Hmm.
best quality. But so the earlier I wake up, the earlier I'm going to hit those East Coast people and get my day on my page started, because if I don't post, I don't sell.
Gotcha. So is that meaning, like, when you say get those East Coast people, is that like reaching out like a text message, or is that like I want to post something that they're gonna see at this time?
Oh, that's no, that's a really good question. So, for example, like if I'm doing a special on like some sort of skincare that day, I'm gonna have a whole campaign about it, and I'm gonna schedule those posts. So the earlier they see them, it won't be like 10 o'clock at night, because it's only 7 here, but at 10 o'clock at night, I might have lost them already.
Right, they're not gonna see anything.
7 in the morning, I'm gonna most likely be able to fit all my posts, and it's all by choice. But I'll be able to get everything in that I want, and both coasts get.
Gotcha. It's by choice, but it's also by like, hey, I've figured out this is what seems to work.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it
Okay.
is trial and error for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's what I'm finding too with different, posting on like TikTok or posting on different websites, is like you'll post something and you'll get a bunch of views, and then I'll post something and nothing is. And I'm like, wait, why is what's it's either timing? Yeah. Okay. Understandable. Um, this also might be a tougher question to maybe answer, only because again, it's sales. So sales are always it's always fluid with pay per se. But is there like a pay range? Is it, I also kind of see this job potentially being like you get out of it what you put into it. Like if you're, I can't just say you're going to get this much, like you got to go out there and work to get that much.
Right. So I would say, first of all, since I did a lot of research on this company, it's a mainstay in skincare and anti-aging. So I make money because the products almost sell themselves, which is really cool. There's a lot of technology to our products that, like literally, I can rub my hand and it doesn't come
That's
off.
what I was, yeah, I was noticing that.
So part of it sells itself. Part of it is what you put in, you get out. Just like most things in life, right? But I mean, I could go, just thinking of nursing. I could go into the hospital in a really crappy mood, like exhausted, and my patients would still get care, and it I'd still be smiling and it would still be fine. But I can't really do that with this job. I have to put in the effort, and the more you see that you're like actually planning ahead and doing the work, and being organized, which again I struggle with, you get so much more out of it.
Okay, gotcha. Is there, one of the things we also like to discuss is perks and benefits. So with this I actually have no idea. Is it like a salary? Do you get a paycheck? Do you get, is it like an hourly thing? Like I have no idea there for for actually like how you get compensated. But then also, is there like medical and dental, and I have no clue. I'm out here treading
No, really.
water.
And a lot of people I think are in the same boat. Like I had no idea either. And also when you think about, like, you hear about pyramid schemes, which are illegal. Um, but that was like taking money from you because you were under me and then giving it to, that doesn't happen anymore, which is great. So I'll first say there's no benefits, there's no dental, no insurance, nothing like that. So even if you are the highest person in the whole company, you're paying out of pocket.
Okay,
There's no like you reach this point and you get benefits.
gotcha.
Just not a thing, because it's your own small business. Whether you're making $20,000 a month or you're making 500 a month,
Gotcha.
your own business.
And you're also responsible for your own taxes, then I'm assuming at that point also.
Yeah.
So you have to be like conscious of that as you're going, of like, okay, I'm making this much, I got to be putting this much away.
Totally. Yep. Yep. Exactly. But the really neat thing in our company is all the companies that do network marketing are a little different. But so say, I'll show you. So this product is a skincare product. It costs $60. So I have this wholesale membership. So I buy that for half price
Gotcha.
and I sell it for double. So I make 50% of the profits of everything I sell. Then the other really neat thing about that is I build a team under me. So I grab friends,
Me, for
customers.
example. I always like to
Exactly.
use me as the example because
Yeah.
I'm
So Brandon joins my team. He really loves lipstick. No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
killing it. It plumps. It's the plump. That's why,
Yeah, exactly. So he joins my team, and say I have 5 Brandons and his friends under me. Okay. I get 10% of every single thing they sell. Then they get people under them. I get 15% of every single thing they sell. So we're just now it doesn't go past that. But then you get line bonuses. You get, I mean, there's so many different ways to make money in network marketing that are not coming from, like, you're not stealing money from the person under you. The company pays all those commissions.
okay.
But I mean, there's endless ways to make more money.
Gotcha. And then one of the things we kind of mentioned was perks. Is there? I'm going to pull the curtain back a little bit. Jen had sent me over like a little pamphlet about Synergence before we got started, just so I could learn a little bit and have a little background. And as I was scrolling through, I'm like, wait a second, vacations, cars, what the heck? What is going on here? So, is there perks that maybe the average person isn't seeing or doesn't know about, and that you could enlighten us on?
Yeah, yeah. So um, from the smallest thing, like every month, if I hit a certain sales goal, which is pretty small, I get a free product, whatever it is of the. So they could give me a $90 product, they could give me a $20 product, but they name it ahead of time, and you get that if you hit that goal. So I can turn around and sell that for full price, or I can use it myself. I can do whatever I want. So that's number one. That's just a very small example. If you hit a certain tier, they whether it's sponsoring people under you or sales or both, they give you a catalog. And there's things like I'm so uncool that I don't even know this, but like the most like awesome sunglasses, the greatest like luggage, things like that you can pick out, and it changes every quarter. So you get that just for hitting that goal. They pay for a car payment every month that you're at a sales goal. The only stipulation is it has to be our blue color. It has to be some sort of blue, but they will pay for that forever as long as you're at that sales goal.
Is there a cap to how much your payment can be? Like, if you're like, I'm gonna go out and get a blue color Tesla, and my payment, and my credit's 300, so my payment's $1,700 a month. They're like,
No,
got it.
they
Oh,
will pay anything you want.
oh,
Isn't that insane?
that's pretty wild.
It's crazy. It's really
Yeah.
crazy. So then the trips are the most amazing thing. So they do 2 trips a year, a Cenostar and a Lips trip. Um, just they're going to Monaco in January. They just went to Turks and Caicos and another place in Mexico. All the really high up gals, like the gal that I'm underneath, she goes on probably 5 trips a year. Um, just all over. They go all over the world, and it's all inclusive.
It's like every other month you're taking off to somewhere new.
It's truly this company is just like I can't say enough about it. It's incredible.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's in the end, that's what you hope for, either your friends, your family, the people that are in your life, is that they're happy with what they're doing.
And if you had told me I was going to sell something, even probably 3 years ago, I've been like, yeah, right.
You would have gave me detention. Yeah, you would have given me
Exactly.
detention. But
I
like,
would have
Brandon,
for
you're
sure.
you're on something. Detention.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
As we're gonna kind of move to the next section of the podcast here, career trajectory is something that we like to discuss and kind of figure out. And I think that network sales kind of has an interesting trajectory of like, is this, where you just keep going with getting more people and moving more products, or is there like a way to move up, I guess, maybe? Like, I mean, I know that, is it just more sales that makes you move up?
Yeah, so it's definitely different than like corporate America, as far as like moving up, like a like vice president, president, like things like that. But and this is like the kind of a dorky part of it, but they use the monarchy system.
Okay.
They like call them like crown princesses, ruby majesties, like all these.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah.
But those people are making a lot of money. So that's how you move up. And I think so there's no like corporate moves necessarily, but you definitely get increased bonuses and increased just incentives and
Yeah, trips and and
yeah,
car payments.
you basically are living the life when you're
Yeah.
there.
Something I just thought of when you were mentioning that. Let's say, for example, the lady who's ahead of you, that is your mentor, the like top 5% of the company or whatever. At well, I'm not saying she's going to, I have no idea, but hypothetically, let's say tomorrow she's like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I'm retiring, or I'm moving to wherever. Does she like, what happens to her clientele? Did she like grandfather them to somebody? Does she will them to somebody? Is it like first come, first serve? You just jump on it. Like, how does that work?
So it's kind of a sticky situation in network marketing because um there have been cases that if someone doesn't like someone, if there's a personality conflict, like with the person above you or below you, they try to make it so you can't just quit um, and like move to another team kind of thing. So if she were to leave, first of all, that we have someone else above her
Okay.
that would probably just take us all under. But it's a good question. It does get a little sticky. All her customers would probably, I don't know, Google who they could go to. I mean, so many distributors, but um, there are some people whose upline, as we call it, has left, and other teams have just like adopted them, kind of.
Like kind of absorbed it as,
Yeah,
okay.
yes. They may not truly be like in that lineage, as they call it, but we all work together.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because that was my thinking. It's like, man, if you have such a big book, and then like that might be worth something to somebody where you're like, hey, I'll give you all these clients and I'll retire if you.
Oh, it's hard. And that's why they have to be so careful because of all the bad rap that pyramid schemes get, which is nothing like how it is. They just have to be careful with all the rules and things.
Okay. Nice. Gotcha. That makes a lot more sense. Um, a segment that I've been trying to kind of see if it's working, see if people are liking it, is how can I be better too? So something we like to promote a lot on the podcast is positivity. I think there's a lot of negativity in the world, and I think that if we focus more on positive things, maybe we'll have more positive experiences. Who knows? Wild thought. Um, but how could I be better to my network salesperson? So if I am a client of yours, or I'm a potential client of yours, like, what can I do in my everyday life to just make your job a little bit easier?
Um, I love this question because I think that's a great question for any career because, whether you're at the grocery store talking to the checkout person or you're talking to the vice president of a company, like everyone deserves respect. But with sales, it is hard because the minute I say like, "Oh, I sell lipstick," you can see some people's face like, "Get me out of here." She's gonna trap me.
Yeah.
So what I would say is just be kind. I mean, I am not trying to convert every person in the world to wear red lipstick that doesn't come off. Like, I have other things in my life going on. This does bring me joy. So the more kind people are, the happier everyone will be. But maybe just hear them out. And, I mean, they're not doing it just to be annoying. They obviously believe in it. Just be kind to people that are in sales because it's hard.
Exactly.
You go out on a limb to present your product. So
You put yourself out there for 9 times out of 10 the person to say no thank you or get out of my face or leave me alone or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it can be brutal sometimes for sure.
right.
Um, I have about five or so specific job specific questions. We'll see how specific they are to network sales and if they fit. Um, First one I have is, so depending upon what you're selling, this might change, but do you have for Senegence a best place to meet new clients?
So I personally am better in person.
Hmm. Me too.
Yeah, so before I did this, well, I started this during the pandemic, like I said, so no one was in person. I had to learn like how to like we call it social selling,
Sure.
which is a huge thing, but it's hard when you can't like smile at someone, you can't interact. So the best place to answer your question is you would be so shocked that there are vendor events
Okay.
almost every weekend, probably in every city.
And we just don't know. We don't know about it if we're in that world. If we're not in that world.
Yeah, like I would never have known that they exist. So they're at breweries. They're at this weekend. I was at a 55 plus community. They're outside malls. They're all sorts of places that either crafters or people like me or people offering services come and just kind of display their stuff.
Gotcha. So not, necessarily just hey running into, but like go to kind of specialized events for this type of selling. For some people, I mean, I am fortunate enough to maybe not fall in this category, but for some people, meeting new people can seem extremely daunting. Is there any tips or like tricks that you might use to kind of get over that or to alleviate that?
Yeah, so I mean, you and I have known each other for a long time, and I am not shy. I know you are not shy.
No.
But when you are selling something, it's a lot different. Um, in fact, the other day I was at an event and I was just telling someone that I could feel this insecurity like come over me. And I was like, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. What is wrong with me? It still creeps in. Uh, so my best advice, and I need to listen to it myself all the time, is just be yourself. Like I do videos like this on my Facebook page and the tripod will fall over. Or I'll be in an event and I'll trip, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's me. Take it or leave it. So the more you try to be someone that you're not, people see through that. And they genuinely want to know about what you do outside of this, what makes you happy, things like that. So just be yourself, as dorky as you are. And I'm speaking about myself,
Yeah. I'm speaking about
They
myself. I got comic books hanging up on my wall. Okay, let's not get
exactly. I
crazy.
think being real is the only way to be successful.
Yeah, I was thinking when I was like coming up with the questions, I was like, the only thing that I ever like do, I mean, the be yourself thing, I don't know how to be anybody else. So I unfortunately, guys, this is what you're gonna get. I can't do anybody else. Um, but I don't know where I learned this from. Maybe it's a TV show that I heard it on, but I always try and keep a drink or like if I have a beer, drink, Coke, whatever it is, in my left hand so that when you're shaking people's hands for the first time, it's not cold or wet.
Oh, I love that.
That's like I don't know where I picked that up. I think it was like a TV show where somebody had mentioned that once, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's so smart. I love that.
Yeah. Immediately, if you shake a cold hand, oh, whoa, like you're already kind of like, what's going on there? But it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's something that I've picked up.
One other thing I'd say, just in regards to sales, is when I first started this, something that made it easier for me and also like kind of put their guard down is I would be like, "Oh, I love those comic books behind you," or I would say, "Oh, your shirt is so pretty." I'm not lying to them. Like I wouldn't say it if I didn't, but um, something like that, because immediately that just makes you're both human. You're both like connecting just for that second, and then the guard comes down and you can kind of start that conversation, whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that like okay, we have a common bond. Let's work from
Exactly.
there.
Just find something. Find
Right.
something. Yeah.
I like that. When you're starting a potential sale with somebody or a potential like sales pitch with somebody, um, do you have like a best icebreaker or like a go-to icebreaker or something to kind of like let the person know, hey, we are now moving into the sales portion of this. Like it's time for you to, focus on this now.
So this could be a little controversial in a sales position.
Hey,
um,
you're your own business. Who's gonna fire you? Yep.
True. Exactly. That's the beauty of it. I try to be really not salesy. I honestly, without saying like, "Oh, don't worry, you don't have to buy anything," because that's not the goal. I really try to share my love of the products, which are completely genuine. Um, and I would tell you if I didn't like something. There's a couple products in this line that I'm like, I don't push those because they're not my favorite. Um, but most everything I think is just phenomenal. So I try to let that lead the way rather than like, all right, now we're getting to the nitty gritty. And that could be a detriment to me, I'm sure. I'm sure I could probably sell more if I was a little more, this is the wrong word, but calculated a little bit.
Okay. Or like pitchy, like sales pitchy. Yeah.
But I also think I've gained a lot of customers because I'm not like super salesy.
Gotcha. You don't have that like, yeah, no, I totally understand. I mean, if you've ever bought a car, then I guess you can't relate to this necessarily, but it's that feeling of like that like used car salesman vibe of like, okay, what are you selling me? What, as opposed to like, I'm just me. This is what I have. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. I mean, we're still trying to convince you that you're gonna like it. But yeah,
And we kind of have I don't know who really thought of it, but it's a great way to think of things. If someone knows, likes, and trusts you, you're going to do a lot better trying to sell a product to them than someone that's like, oh gosh, all she wants me to do is get this one thing. So I really try to abide by my own personality and not be that person.
gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. So I've done sales too. It's not my thing necessarily, but then also I'm like, oh, this everything's kind of sales. Like I'm trying to sell this, trying to sell myself, trying to whatever. Um, in sales, the hardest thing for me to deal with was a hard no. It was just nope, not interested. Nope. Um, is there a way that you combat the hard no? Is there, or you kind of just like, hey, if you're that adamant, then I'm gonna not waste my time and move on to something else.
Sure. The best advice. So I'm a very sensitive person. Uh, I'm wear my emotions on my sleeve. There's no guessing if I'm happy, sad, whatever.
Emotions on your sleeve, makeup on your hand.
There you go. You just sum me up in 2 sentences. I love it. That's gonna be my new Instagram tag. I like it.
Emotions on my sleeve, makeup on my hand.
I love it. Um, so at first, and this sounds so like even to myself, it sounds petty now. But when I first started that Facebook group,
Mhm.
uh, people were just joining it and people were like probably in it to be nosy and see what I was doing. Like, Jen, she doesn't even wear makeup. Why is she selling makeup? Like just kind of like
Yeah.
stuff like that. And which is totally fair. And then I would look at the number, like say there were, now there's like almost 300 people in my group, but like say there were like 60 and the next day there would be 58. I would be like sweating all night, being like, who left? And I'd be so devastated. Or if I sent a message and someone said no, I would just be like, oh, like a gut punch.
They hate me. It's the worst. Yeah, I'm the
Exactly.
worst.
They
Yeah.
don't like me anymore. They think I'm the
Yeah.
most annoying person ever. There's a gal, and I highly suggest everyone look her up because she's so amazing. Her name's Morgan Zambrano, and she is really high up in this company and network marketing in general. Now she's branched out all over the place. She made a video one day, and I happened to be watching it, and she's like, "If someone leaves your group, if someone says no, wish them well. They weren't going to support you. They didn't want to buy what you have. Goodbye. Like you're better off without them." And ever since I heard that, my whole outlook has changed.
I like that too, because now thinking about it too is like if those people were, it's better, you know what? Better to have two leave the group than the two stick around, never buy anything, and just either side comment things or, oh, it's just, it's okay.
Yeah, I would rather just have the people that want to be there,
Yeah,
and it changed my whole outlook on everything. And that happens in real life people too, not just a Facebook group. Like I had friends that were just not into me doing this, and I'm like,
sure.
bye.
That's okay. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
that's
okay.
fine. We don't have to talk about this. We can still
No,
be friends,
yeah,
but like I don't ever need to talk to you about this.
no,
Like, and it's
it's
worked out great.
totally
So
gotcha. That's a good outlook to have, I think, on life and self, but on job, on if you're trying to sell something, if you're trying to become the next social media star, whatever it is, there's going to be people that are like, hey, I don't think you, that's fine, that's okay, you're allowed to have that opinion, I'm going to keep doing my thing, but yeah, you can keep whatever you're doing, fine. um we kind of mentioned this a couple times with pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing, but so the pyramid scheme, the multi-level marketing always gets a bad reputation. Always people give it the like, oh, eye roll or up, oh, here we go. Does network sales suffer from the same kind of thing, or what necessarily like separates it from that negative connotation?
sure. So I like to just again point out pyramid schemes are illegal. So none of these things, unless they're being run illegally, are a pyramid. So that's a good thing. So if you're considering any of these companies, and just to clarify, it's not just beauty products. It's there's like athletic supplements. There's clothes. There's so many direct sales companies, but there's actually a huge increase now in people wanting to get in direct sales because residual income is a beautiful thing. Being able to sit at the pool yesterday and make money while I'm in the pool because someone's, ordering on my site or whatever it is. It's a beautiful thing. And I think it's going to take a little while to keep going, but I mean the amount of people going into it is just soaring. In fact, our CEO and some gals that are at the very tippy top, they're working on a college course, and I can't remember the college, but there's actually going to be a college course about direct sales because it's becoming that huge.
Yeah, that popular. And I had mentioned on the couple podcasts ago, or and whenever this one comes out, a few podcasts ago, we talked about the Great Resignation and how that kind of has now led, and I think that probably has seen such an uptick now to direct sales because people are like, now that I'm not doing this, I don't want to work for somebody else, I already did that, I'd like to work for myself. Or gotcha.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that we stayed home for so long because we had to, and then people, I don't want to go into an office. I want to be in Maui on vacation, working on my phone a couple hours a day and making money, and that's a real possibility now.
Exactly. Yeah, with all the different apps and things that are coming out daily, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes working from home, working from an outside office a lot easier.
Hmm.
Um, you said, I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast or if this was when we were kind of talking prior, but you said that you were doing like a Facebook event prior to this, or but what is that like? What does that entail? What is that? If people were like interested in checking that out, what?
Yeah. So it's on my business page.
Okay,
Um,
we will have all the links and everything in the description to the episode.
Great. Yeah, everyone's welcome. And it's also not just for women, just for the record. um, yeah, I've actually sold to a few statesmen.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah. So, but I went on tonight. I have kind of an abundance of stock right now. I don't really know why. I just do. I mean, I've been selling it to them, but I just have a lot. So I kind of want to just get offload some before my surgery. Yeah, so I just did a wine Wednesday. Even I had seltzer water, but I just was there. It's weird because you just feel like you're talking to yourself on your phone.
Oh yeah.
But I just sit there and people kind of come on live and I just talk about a product, tell them what it is, tell them what the discount is, and go to
Nice.
the next product. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the toughest part about kind of starting the podcast and stuff, is the doing that social media side of it. Cause like that was never my thing. Even in high school, like it just wasn't my thing. I just never was that guy. But then having to like, okay, I'm gonna go outside on the balcony with a good background. Okay, and now I gotta, hey guys, check out. And I'm like, who am I talking? What am I
Right.
doing? And so it takes
I
that getting
know.
over that hump. I totally
It
understand that.
does. It does, and it pays off eventually. And you can make it kind of fun.
Right.
I've actually learned a lot. I don't know if you know that product or the program called Studio. It's
No.
actually full name, I think it's so cheesy, but it's called GoDaddy Studio. It used to be called
Okay.
Over, and
Hmm.
you can make like a lot of background graphics and stuff.
Nice.
So I've learned a lot about that, and so that's actually kind of fun for me now. I make neat like content and things like that. So but I'm not a big social media person either, and so this has been a learning curve.
Yeah, I'm learning like the editing side to the podcasting too, of like once all the videos go in and then we got to try and cut it up. And so like it that I was always like, oh, this is gonna be so daunting. I'm never gonna be able to figure. But then learning it, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, okay, now I have a little bit more understanding of like what we're trying to do.
Right, and I think, I mean, just because this seems like a good way to just throw this in, when you start something like this, whether it's you doing the podcast or me doing, selling makeup and skincare, I got a job out of this. They wanted a nurse with sales experience for this next job I just took. And for my life, when I was like, wait, do I have sales experience? Oh, yeah, I sell every day. And so now I have this amazing job waiting for me after I heal that this opened up.
Right.
And so I think if you step out of your comfort zone and you do something that's like, whoa, I don't know if this is me,
Hmm.
you do it, to the best of your ability, really neat things can happen. So
Exactly. And you never know, who you're gonna meet, who you're gonna run into. Eventually somebody's like, oh hey, I think you'd be great at this, or oh, I'd love to be a guest on the pod. I'm like, oh, perfect.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Something I just thought of. I have no idea if this plays or not, or has any correlation, but like, do you have like the what the equivalent to like a Tupperware party would be?
Yeah.
So like my mom used to have like Tupperware parties back in the day where
Mhm.
like people would come over and they'd buy all different kinds of Tupperware, different things like that. Is there an equivalent for like Senegence where people all come over and you're like makeovers or makeup or I don't know, something like that?
Yeah, so I am the first one to tell you I'm not a makeup artist. Many of my cohorts in this company are, and they're much better than I am.
Nice.
But I bring all my stuff. I just did one Sunday. Had a few girlfriends together at a friend's house, and just kind of let them do their thing, like test things, play with things. I talk to them about like the sciencey stuff, and it's actually really fun.
Hmm.
But that too has a bad rap, which is funny because people think of the Tupperware party or like that. But it's really, for me, I don't go in saying, like, you need to buy this and this and this. It's like, have a glass of wine and just see if you like anything.
Right.
Simple as that. Like,
Yeah.
chat with some friends. It's so different than it used to be, I think.
I think yeah, there's not so much the pressure sales environment, but then also I don't know. I've always been like I don't get the complaint or the like stigma when it's you couldn't leave. Nobody's saying you have to, but I'm not holding you hostage.
That's
Like
so true. Yeah.
you can leave. Nobody told you to, nobody forced you to come. Just go.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I guess that goes back to like just what is it? Circling yourself, surrounding yourself with people that support you. And whether that's people that want to come to a little get together and check out your stuff, or people in your Facebook group, or people that listen to your podcast, whatever it is,
Yeah.
just surround yourself with people that are supportive. And that doesn't mean financially. That just means like, so like, I have a best friend that every single Instagram post I post about any product, she likes it.
Yeah, me
And
too. I have a best friend. Her name's Sandra. You might know her.
I love it.
Yeah.
But it sounds simple, but that helps the algorithm.
And it's free.
It's free. And so, I mean, I guess that's like a good place to say, like, if you have a friend that runs a small business or is starting a new venture or anything, like, ask them, how can I help you? It doesn't have to be money.
No, my cousin literally would FaceTime me the other day. He's younger than me, and he's like, hey, I feel like a boomer right now, but like, how do I want to share your reel, but I don't know how. Like, can you? And I'm like, I'll try to, but I'm older than you and more boomery than you. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to figure this out, but we eventually got it handled. But yeah, that kind of stuff of like an easy thing like that, a like on an Instagram post, a like on a Facebook post, a comment of great job, keep up the good work. Like that's all it is. That's all it is.
Exactly. It goes so far for small business, small ventures, people starting out. It's huge.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a great segue into kind of the final bit here of the podcast that we like to do. Um, One of the main reasons I started this was for small business promotion, guest promotion, just let kind of the people who may not typically have the grand stage to whatever to come on and talk about what they do or shine a light on somebody that they think is doing a good job or whatever it might be. So I like to give my guests some time to either promote themselves, promote whatever they want. And so here's your time.
Oh gosh, that's so nice. I am just grateful for this company. It really, you never know why someone goes into something. And I certainly did not go into this to like become a makeup artist or because I like wear a ton of makeup. I went into it because I needed like a purpose at the time. I wasn't working. I was, kind of like down in the dumps. And this business has changed everything for me in more ways than I could ever count. So, um, it's makeup that doesn't come off. It's skincare that's anti-aging. It's very sciency. We have just about every product you could ever imagine, and I'm just proud to be a part of it.
That's great. I mean, you sound excited. I
Yeah,
mean, that's something,
yeah,
again,
I
like I
love
was
it.
saying earlier, as a friend, that's what you want to see for your friends is them being excited, them feeling happy, them being happy. My only maybe follow up here would be like if they wanted to find Senegence or find you or buy some stuff, where could people go to do that?
Yeah, so my website is pretty easy. It's www.inspiringbeauty by Jen, and Jen has two N's. And then my Facebook and my Instagram are the exact same. Inspiring by Jen with two N's.
Nice. So we'll put all those, if you guys are not in a place where you can write that down real quick when you get home, check on YouTube, scroll down, you'll see all the links, and we'll put, Jen's Instagram, the link to the business, the link to the Facebook, everything there.
Thank you so
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate taking out the time of your day to do this for me, and kind of giving us all maybe alleviating some misconceptions we had, some stigmas that we might have thought existed. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that for me.
Yeah, and I just think this podcast is a genius idea. So
Oh, thank you.
I wait to see it flourish. So thanks
Oh.
for having me.
Well, that's it for another episode of the Jobology podcast. Thank you, Jen, for being my guest today. Before I let you guys go, a couple quick reminders. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow on all major social media platforms at Jobology Podcast. And make sure you hit that bell to get notified for new episodes. Like we say to end every episode, make good choices.